The chair will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, July 1, 26 agenda and June 4, 26 minutes.
I'll second.
Second by Nick. Any discussion? Hearing no request to speak. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items. Anybody online? Okay, chairperson's comments. First of all, our next meeting will be at 4 p.m. on August 6th, 2026. That's the first Thursday, and I do not like to change that or meet at 5 o'clock because I don't think it fair to Diane to have to stay around any extra during her days. So we're going to keep it at 4 unless of some extenuating circumstances.
Like this month.
I have no clue why we're meeting today.
The village offices are closed tomorrow and Friday.
That is a good reason. Also, Eric, I'm gonna ask you to give the report of this committee tonight to the board on next Wednesday, the 8th, because I will be in Saint Germain on Little Arborvitae, or Little Saint Germain Lake. Two reasons. I don't think a chairman should remotely do that stuff or lead a meeting. And secondly, up there, if some bear climbs a tree and the branch breaks and it hits the power line, then I'm not going to be here anyway. So if you could do that. I do plan on attending though.
Understood.
Got it.
Yes, I will do that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think that's all. Anybody else want to have any comments on anything? Put it there announced, because we don't have trustee comments on here, I see. All right, moving on. Item number 6, motion to approve monthly bills, journal entries for previous month and financial reports.
So moved.
Second.
Fluger, Hummel, any discussion? Any questions asked the clerk? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 7, discussion and possible motion to approve the Public Works Director / Administrator job description. Got my train of thought on that one. It's being hot outside. So I am going to suspend the rules. And you do not need the chair's permission to speak as long as you're respectful one to the other. And then I'm going to keep you at bay for a while. You can ask Ben questions, reference the thing that since he was one of the 3 that, Lon, you were involved in that too, I hope, that went over it.
Yeah, and
Good.
you know, just a quick thing from us is the only reason that is me and Betsy did meet with Ben. We went over it. I've shared it with everybody, or Ben said he shared it with everyone else. Nick had a chance to take a look at it. And Ben was all right with it, and anybody else that might have changes or what the recommendations are, please put your input in.
Just point of order, so we can discuss this before anybody recommends a motion. Is that correct?
You bet.
Cool, thank you.
Anybody else?
I think it's just so everybody's aware. I think I've talked to these 2 about it. So I took what our previous job description was for both the Public Works Director and the village administrator, kind of threw it into ChatGPT and said, hey, make this is what, give it the background, whatever. And this is kind of how it came out. So a lot of it's the same stuff. It's just intertwined in some places. So again, if I miss something, or if we don't like it in there, it was a lot easier than me going through and trying to plunk it
Oh,
all.
what did you do again? You lost me on that.
Put it in AI thing, so
Oh.
it meshed the 2 things together and kind of went through what statutorily for the state of Wisconsin, it kind of just went through that, just so I wasn't hand plunking it and then missing important pieces, so.
Gotcha.
In my, Eric, you can go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it incredibly thorough, overly some in some places. But I think the real danger is, having certain portions of the job underrepresented than overrepresented. I think there's a semi decent amount of duplication in here. A lot of time it comes in, it reflects like who you're gonna be interfacing with, you know, whether it be business owners, residents, property owners, developers, et cetera, et cetera. Typically you put down internal and external stakeholders, and then that allows a lot of flexibility as far as who you're interfacing with, and it gets rid of some words in here too, but again, I'd rather have the words in there than not have them in there. So it's incredibly thorough. Again, probably overly some.
It's 3 pages less than what it originally was.
Okay, good. So you got rid of some duplications.
Yeah.
I never saw the individual ones before, so I have no frame of reference to understand
Yeah.
what the administrator looked like and public works director, and now I'm just seeing the final product here. Yeah, realistically, it looks to be a workable document. In my history, you typically use job descriptions in a couple different circumstances. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about, you know, recruitment or discipline. The other one that you use is for performance tracking, and I think it's incredibly difficult to do that, just as an administrator, because you know, as a department head or an administrator, things of that nature, it's really hard to say, well, you know, what does success look like? Because there's consistently going to be different things thrown at you, and there's going to be, so, you know, I'm going to write 7 plans this year is a goal, but you know, when it comes down to it, it's, you know, when it's not working, but it's really hard to define what success is going to look like. So I think this at least sets us up to understand, you know, what this position is responsible for and what it's accomplishing appropriately and what it's not accomplishing appropriately. So I have no issue with it other than, you know, slightly wordy, and I appreciate Chat GPT cutting some of the fats and fillers out of it.
So I have a question, and I did kind of raise that with Ben to get his point of view. It doesn't say anything about percent of time in this dual role, and I assume that's flexible based on need. It would be nice to have some ballpark of that. Is it 50-50? Is it whatever? And that, which leads to my second question. If there's any discussion about changing compensation, which I don't know if there is or not, but if there is, that would be incumbent upon to know what additions would happen that would make the compensation change, which I think position probably does the way it's stated now.
Well, I'm gonna direct that over to Lon because those two things would be right up the alley as to where he spends most of his time would be public work issue, because you're not gonna see him in his office if we have a major water break in the winter time as much as you would otherwise.
Or in
Lon,
the
what's your
summertime.
feelings on that?
Well, my feelings are, you know, this is a unique position. We went with the pilot program. We started that. I pushed that pilot program because at the time we had an intern administrator, and a lot of it Ben was doing, and he continues to do. He's an administrator and a working public works director, which is really extremely hard to find. So when he's doing a lot of these roles, they kind of intertwine with each other. Sometimes he's administrating, sometimes he'll be talking to realtors about this or that, or next he'll be talking to a project with the street projects that are going on. And then the other times he'll be fixing the water main up on Brentwood Drive, and he'll be out right in the machine, or I've seen him in the snowplow. So it's a unique position. I think we need to compensate him. I see, you know, in here is a salary and benefits established by the village board. The qualifications, I mean, I think that, to be honest with you, I think that we're very lucky to have Ben in the position that he's in, and it's gonna be hard when the time comes to replace him. The job description, yeah, it covers us. It's gonna be hard to actually sit down and say, hey, what's he doing or how is he doing it? But I'll tell you, from what I see on the outside, he's doing an excellent job. If I have a question as a trustee, I don't know how anybody else has been, but if I have a question, I can call him. He calls me back within minutes and says, this is what we're doing, this is how it's done. And as long as it's within the realm of doing it, gets done. If it's something that he can't do, he's very honest and he tells you, it just can't be done that way. One, it's not financial feasible, or two, it's just not what we can do as part of a job description, or it couldn't be ethically done. So, I mean, I think, and maybe that's from me knowing him for so long and working with him from the police department on up. But, I think that my main reason to be here is to get this job description passed, get him compensated, and let him do his job, which I think he's doing an excellent job at. As far as the where all the money comes from, I know that Chair Zerflu had a discussion with our treasurer, Diane. I believe that the portion comes from different, and I could be wrong on this but I believe it comes from different parts of the budget. Some comes from streets, some comes from water utility, some comes from public works. I believe that, and wasn't privy to that meeting, if that we can find the compensation for doing the increase.
I think we have a pretty good generic ballpark as far as how much comes from admin, how much comes from streets, how much comes from wastewater. That's part of the budget, correct?
Yeah, but right now it's divided administration, public works foreman, it's actually under on the budget, and then water utility and wastewater.
Okay. So it's coming from two, but as far as the specific time breakdown, how much out of his set, we're gonna estimate 40 hours. I know it's probably way more than that. Out of his 40 hours, it's
We do it as a
not,
percentage, like,
Yeah.
I don't know right offhand, but it's like 50% administrator, whatever,
Mhm.
50%. But it's those four categories
Okay.
that it goes to.
and then does that seem reasonably good approximation of what your time is spent on?
Yeah, I mean, it changes daily, you can, but
Mm,
I believe.
But,
it's-
but over a
I
long
believe it's
period of
10 for
time.
the water and 10 for the wastewater, and then the rest are kind of divided out.
Okay.
So,
That's reasonable as far as
Yeah.
over 6 months. That's right about what the percentages are being spent.
I've never tracked and don't plan on doing it, as long as the job's getting done.
Not
But
asking, that's
obviously
why
it
I
comes from
said-
other department, that's,
Yep.
yeah, if it's broken in other departments. So.
So I'd like to just add, thank you, Juan, for the background and the number of years that we've experienced that. When I look at this role, I do it in two ways, and it's really, in my opinion, important to have two different hats on. One is the role, regardless of who is in the role, and the second is who's the person in the role. I think this represents both. I think it does a good job of representing both. So this isn't tailored to meet a person. It's tailored to meet two roles that are important to the village, that we've now had over 6 months of experience seeing how that works. And I just want to be really clear that this is a role description more than it is a description of a person per se. Now, having said that, obviously it's important who the person is and can they fulfill that. And I think that's very clear, that I don't hear any objection from anybody that we have the wrong person.
No.
So that check marks that too. So just want to comment that it's a role description as well as a acknowledgement of the person who's in that role.
And from, again, I'm HR adjacent is what I say. From accounting perspective, we really only update job descriptions in 3 specific circumstances: when it's a new position, when we're getting ready to recruit, and when there's a substantial change in job duties. And I think this is definitely all of the latter. It was, you were expected to do one thing before, and now we threw all this stuff on you without accurately reflecting that in the job description. So, yeah, I mean, Ben, you're gonna leave us at some point here, and when the time comes, hopefully a long time in the future, we'll have to come back and look at this again and find out, like, is this something that we're gonna be able to find someone with Ben's experience and education to be able to do? But for right now, currently in 2026, I think it's a pretty accurate description of what we're expecting the position to do. And that we have someone in the role that's able to do it.
Anything else? Madam President?
No, I I concur that it's, well, what Eric said, it's, we have to think beyond just Ben, like what the viability is next. Cause at some point, there is gonna be a next, and this is kind of that blend of what the village needs, versus any one person. The danger of if tailoring something to one person is that next step, and then now you have to reinvent the wheel, and then that gets messy. So I think this is a good neutral, what the village needs versus what an individual needs.
I have one big issue with this, and I told Ben what it was, and if any of you know of it, then that means he told you, but goes on the last page under supervision. Second line provides direct leadership to public works personnel, administrative staff, and other village staff as assigned. That is 100% accurate. The one above it is a usurpation of the powers of the village board, in my humble opinion. I was waiting for a call back from the attorney, but I since found out that he didn't call me. Anyway, reports to the village board through the village president.
We can change that. It can be changed, it's just,
So I know, but all the history, I know you guys don't really probably get a proverbial, I won't say it, but being a history type of guy, the village president always was the immediate supervisor of the public works director, who was the immediate supervisor of the village foreman, the DPW guy.
Okay.
So somehow I would like wording in there, reports to the village board, somehow to say that it will report to the village president as his immediate supervisor. Because the way it's reading now, we can't talk to Ben about anything, and he can't talk to us about anything about the village board, about the village, the way it's worded.
So I offered a way of doing that, and it isn't necessarily required, but it does take care of that. And that would be, which is very common, maybe not in municipalities. It's very common to have dotted line relationships into people for certain things and solid line into the primary. And in this case, could be a dotted line into the president for public works or direction or whatever.
Day in and
Can I
day
finish,
out
please?
operations and stuff.
And
That's right.
solid line into meeting, that's the stopping point, is the board itself. And if there's a conflict, you assume always that the person between the dotted line and the board would say, that's a problem. Or we have a conflict here and I don't know how to resolve it, I'm bringing it to the solid line. So,
And that's,
no, that would be the board, the solid line.
yeah,
Mhm.
but bringing it to the board also. See, I don't have any problem with that, because there were a few other times where a past village president and a past village administrator had different opinion, and they were brought to the board. Village. But this was on issues of day in and day in operations.
Correct. And I don't think we want to tie the hands of the board or the president in terms of being able to have,
You are pretty much here.
I'm offering a solution to what's
No,
here.
I know, but I'm just saying, pretty much this is what it's
Well,
doing.
that's why I'm offering is an alternative that would address that concern, and it seems like a realistic concern.
What was your wording? How did you want it?
Just, that was just a suggestion.
No.
Reports to the village president, or the village president, comma, is the immediate supervisor, comma, of that position. In other words, 99% of the time things come up, he's gotta see you.
Mhm.
You know, not gotta, but gotta.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is this verbiage here could be construed by someone, and unfortunately it was me, is you could prevent that from, if he wanted to agree with you, and you said, damn it, that's the way it's gonna be, he has no recourse, no.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay. I was missing what you were saying.
Would you do that? Hell no, you wouldn't.
I don't know. No, I see what you're saying now, but I mean,
But yet,
fine with it.
the dotted line, the hash marks and the solid line, that's all well and good. But but it's just like the budgets. When I was president for 6 years, I talked to Joe Terry and
Mhm.
like that.
So could we
about
put-
different things and
I'm saying what's,
So can we put down reports to the village board, period? Direct supervision will be under the village president. Just separate it out and have it be, he's ultimately responsible.
repeat that again.
Reports to the village board, period. Direct supervision will be through the village president. Because direct supervision to me means the day-to-day stuff. The vacation requests, the budget stuff, things
Direct
of that nature.
supervision, immediate supervisor, all the same thing.
All the same thing. I have no preference either way, but reports to the village board, you're obviously, responsive to all of us. But direct supervision is, your day-to-day stuff is through the village
He's
president.
not
so-
responsible.
Well, you're the only one. He helps me out. So yeah, if you just report to the village board, period. Direct supervision will be through the village president
Well,
or
that's-
something to that
You
nature.
see, there's 7 people that are co-equal.
Mhm.
But yet she does have certain responsibility that we don't. I'm not
Right.
arguing that.
Nope, I'm not either. That's why I would want it to separate it, because if you leave it in one sentence, it gets a little muddy. As far as like who's direct day-to-day stuff and who is he ultimately responsive
So in
to,
another way, without forcing you, distant cousin, you agree with
kind of sort of. I'm just trying to clarify it. A little bit of a word.
Eric, with his hash marks and dotted lines and red lines and
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate, your concern about that, but you can't draw a organizational chart from what you just said. It'll take care of it if you just put a dotted line there. That's all I'm saying. And otherwise, it looks like there are 2 solid lines. If somebody says, well, draw me a picture of what the organization looks like, you can't do it with those words.
I really don't care
I know you don't care.
because. this
There
is
might be
it.
somebody that does.
Yeah, well, we're not big time either. We've never had the dotted lines and the solid lines.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I know you haven't before.
anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. So
Good to approve with that change.
I agree with 99.90%, except all the lines. And your verbiage is very good, satisfies the piece to me. But you feeling?
yeah, no, that's fine. I can see where you had issue with it. Like at first I didn't understand it, but once you explained it more, I get what you're saying. Cause I don't want any of you feeling like you can't call Ben or Ben can't call you. Like, that's what I don't want, right?
It's just that down the road and I know.
That's fine.
So we have a motion. I'm just gonna verbalize this. It's not a motion. You guys do agree. Well, you'll vote on it, but I need a second. When I do make it, would be to approve what's the official title, Betsy?
Well, it says village administrator / public works director. And it's opposite on here, I guess.
With the. I don't know, if Nick help you out. I don't know if the word amendment's proper here. I think it is. With a change in a line, because all we're doing is, the word verbiage for,
I think you can make the motion as submitted with the
Changes.
revision to the supervision component.
you have any recommendation on it?
Yeah, I would say motion to approve the job description with the changes of
Cause we're not,
supervision.
if we had an initial motion and then we had to bring it back, that would be an amendment. I
Then
think
it-
this is just a revision.
Sorry.
Bring the one back. We had. Oh,
Well, you said amendment. Amendment to me would mean
Oh, yeah.
we had a motion, so I think revision would be appropriate, not amendment.
Yeah, we can change it without.
Yep.
Amending.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So the appropriate motion, and I'll make the motion, just to kind of clarify things,
Okay.
is to approve, to approve the position, or excuse me, the job description. Do you need the whole title?
I mean, I can put it in when I type it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the Village Administrator Public Works Director job description with the revision reflected in the supervision section to clarify immediate supervision.
So we're going to report to the building board, period. Direct supervision through the village president. Is that how we're
Correct.
changing it?
Yep.
Long as
Have that.
the board isn't shut off.
Nope.
The verb. Do I have a second to that? No.
I will second it.
Discussion.
Yes, I would like to say I will vote for this. What I have problem with, and it's not a big enough one to hold up something more important, is I have a real problem on a principle standpoint with making decisions because we've never done it any other way. And that's just a pervasive thing that tends to happen. And I don't think that's a way to run an organization, but I'm full support of doing this and good, I got it off my chest. Thank you.
And I apologize if I ruffled your feathers a little bit, but we never had any one of your stature dealing with this type of thing. And my only experience in local government has been by, I don't mean it, it's like it's gonna sound the good old boys and the way they did it for 80, 90 years in the village of Port Edwards. I grew up under that. So,
Yeah, it kind of does sound like that, but
And
that's okay.
when I'm gone,
I want you here.
it'll be in the Coosa because my grandfather, yeah, my great grandmother.
I'm hoping to exercise some flexibility in your thinking before you leave.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Talk to Mrs. Zerfu on that. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That motion carries. And I would like to thank, you were chairman back, Bonnie, when of FHR, when this all started,
Yeah,
getting this together. Now we're almost approaching, we are over 2 years. Eric, for your part of, kind of getting the wheels turning again.
You're welcome.
And, Ben, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
You have anything to say?
No, thank you guys.
Okay, number 8, Ben, you have any revisions for discussion on budget requests from village residents?
So, I'll try to keep this short. Last month I brought you guys, basically a 3.04 budget change. Budget input for the following years would be January 1st to the last Friday in August. Requests will be made effectively through village residents and affects the village budget for the next year. Basically, the residents would have to do a 5 and 10-year plan, how this would affect the budget. At the September board meeting, I would share this to all the different committees. You guys asked me to go back and see if we could just create a page on our village website that would create an open forum. So I worked with Kim on that, and we have basically on our website now we've got a space that says contact. And underneath contact, you go to a form and the form is attached to your guys' packet. Basically, it's a contact form that you can submit to the village about any questions and things you have. My suggestion would be if that's the way you guys would like to go, on the bottom, we can add village budget requests need to be sent through this form to the village by the same dates, January 1st through the last Friday in August, and after that, these suggestions will be sent off to the village board. So that was how we could add that to this. Everybody is able to jump on this if they want to, make a request. It sends it to the village board website, and at that point I can keep them in file and send them over to the proper chairmen and committees at the board meeting if you'd like. So that was kind of what the direction you guys asked me to do, to create kind of an open page.
Feelings on it?
Is this gonna be, like, how far into the web page is this?
You go right to the browser and hit contact, and it'll
Okay.
show right up. And then I can also put underneath news and notes, we can put a tab saying, like right now, saying,
Okay.
you know, if you have budget suggestions, that you can click on this tab.
So it's just somewhere under, yeah, I'm trying to think.
So if you go to a lot of other different websites, I mean, I use a Lake District and everything, they've got a spot where it says, contact or community involvement, I think is underneath the same
Okay.
thing. Ours doesn't have community involvement, it has contact.
Yep, as long as it's easily findable, I think
You
that's
can
kind of,
also put something in the newsletter, the fall newsletter, even if that throw is undermined, just, hey, we have this as an option, here's where you can find it.
Mhm.
We could do that too.
Chair? Yes, so I have a question. When did this change from what we talked about in FHR previously and so forth, that this process was to be inserted in without changing the whole process and not doing a full debrief, just putting it in to the process and not having people being able to do it from January 1 to do it at the same timeline that the employees did. I thought that's what we thought we were agreeing to, and we did. And I'm curious, when did it change that now you don't want it in the ordinance? How did that happen?
In the ordinance,
Yeah, it was supposed to be inserted right with the ordinance, so it has the same value and so forth that a process would follow. And now you've got it only, and I love the idea it's in the website. That's great. Because that's the how to get in there. Okay, but ordinances are there to describe how citizens are expected to act and perform, as well as the board does. And in the budget part, it explicitly talks about what the budget process is. And now I thought that this was going to be part of the budget process. Now you don't even want it in the budget process. And I'm telling you from an optics standpoint, it'll be another, and I'm sorry to be upsetting you, but it will be another case of people feeling disenfranchised that are finally having citizen involvement in the process. And I just, is that really what you want to do? So basically, under 3.04 of that budget part of, of the ordinance, would that be sufficient to have what Ben explained about January 1 through? See where I'm trying to go with this? Yeah. I would agree to that. I'm even asking it to be, I'm even recommending be smaller. Don't take stuff at January 1. Wait until the budget process starts. So give a date. What is that? September? Make it September, not January 1. We'd have to make a date because all the different boards have done it at different times, started the process.
so
Well, whenever the process starts, but we don't ask department heads to do anything on January 1. I'm sorry, Madam President.
so I thought the January 1 to the, is it August? To
Last Friday
that
in
last
August.
Friday in August, that gives plenty of time to submit those things into, and then once those things are submitted by that second last Friday in August, then it comes to, well, Ben, but then it comes to us,
Sure.
so that we can start that budget. That's when we start the budget process. I'm completely comfortable with it starting January 1st, because if something didn't happen in the budget process previously, so from that September to December, and you didn't like it, you can jump on the thing right away in January and be like, hey, this is what I wanted.
Okay, and then when is it gonna start to be acted? It's not gonna be start to be acted until months from that. Okay, if you wanna do it that way, that's fine. I think we need to be clear that, are you
Are you willing to change the budget, that's already been approved for that year on January 30th? Or are the requests for the following year? I just
For
don't
the
think
next
that's.
year.
For the next year.
Okay, but that,
Unless it's something immediate.
How I read them, how the motion was written last time was for the next year. That was what the motion I brought to this committee
That
last
is-
month.
and
So that is-
that's how it should, in my opinion, that's how it should be.
We discussed this last, and I looked back on it too, and I'm in so many meetings, I didn't remember. You weren't present. We discussed it last meeting. I think the reason of keeping it out of ordinances is to give us some flexibility as far as when to address things and when to take proposals. And it wasn't a matter of, because if you put it into ordinance, that is gospel. You
Yeah,
take
it
them
is
from,
gospel.
you take them from this day to this day, and then you go to this process and do this. So we're leaving a little bit of flexibility here that if someone wants to put a proposal together that has immediate ramifications, then we have the ability to address that. If we do it
Like
according,
anybody else would, like a
Correct.
department chair, or department. head
correct,
would do that.
we have the ability to move things within functions, within budget by bringing it to the board and
Okay, that's fine.
acting on things.
That's
By,
fine.
by keeping it out of, and this, we discussed last meeting.
Who
So
discussed it?
this committee,
Who on the committee discussed it?
So here,
Oh, okay.
I can remember who was here.
yeah,
That was, yeah.
yep.
So
Long
I'm gonna
here.
ask Lon a question. Do you remember us talking about this before and having an agreement that it would be part of the process?
I knew that we were talking, when I was the chair, we talked about getting a process together to have citizens input on the budget. I don't recall saying it was an ordinance. I thought we were doing it as a website type of thing. That's what I thought, but I could be wrong. I know that we had a lot of discussion on it.
When did it come up? When is it ever brought up that it is gonna be on the website? Before the last meeting?
We requested a clarification of the process, like how would they be submitted to the board? Who would be collecting them and who would be disseminating them? And that was a discussion we had. So it's not that we're poo-pooing suggestions here. We're just formalizing. We want suggestions to go using this form in this format with these things included. Those go to the administrator and the administrator then turns around and distributes them to the appropriate committee.
Is that
It's just-
the gospel?
It will be the way that we operate, yes.
You just got done saying the stuff in the ordinance is the gospel. But now you're saying that's the gospel, but we're not gonna put it in the ordinance. I don't get it.
I think
More of
it
a
was
procedure than
unnecessary.
It is the ordinance.
It was an SOP as opposed to a,
That wasn't the original proposal. I'm just saying the optics don't look good. If that's what you guys decide to do, I'm opposed to it. And, it just looks again like, taking citizen input. And I know it's only one coming from one place. But you asked for citizen input, you're getting it, and now you're kind of saying, yeah, no, if you want to figure it out, go to the website. Or go to a Facebook, which,
we're not saying that in any way, shape or form. We're just saying if you have a request, this is how you submit it to the
Yeah.
village.
that's great. That's a how process, not a what process. And an ordinance is about what you do, not how. Okay, and that's, I'm starting to repeat myself. I just object to, minimizing the significance of this by just putting it in the website and not being part of the ordinance. And I'm a little surprised, Lon, that you filling in for me didn't even think about, geez, I wonder what Eric would think about this.
Well, I'm not you, Eric. I can't think of
Okay,
your thoughts.
Well,
What I'm going to do, unless there's some serious disagreements, I think this should be a banner headline agenda item for our August 6th meeting. And do you agree, Madam President?
I mean, it's fine. We've talked about this for months and months now, and I
But-
feel like we've established that we want input. It's just clearly there's disagreements on what that looks like from
It
people. on
sounds
this
to
committee.
me, if it's listed in the ordinance or since the official professional chairman of that committee is here, it could either be our policy to do something, that there's other policies that aren't in the ordinance, or listing it right in the ordinance. So the only big objection I have, not big, but to list it in the ordinance without a date is then you get into the situation where we're already in November and then somebody wants.
okay, put a date. I agree with you. I would like to ask this committee not to make a motion and vote it down. Because it's gonna be a 2-to-1 vote. And I don't think that's reasonable. It's something that's important to have 3 people make a decision. It's really a board decision. So I would ask that the recommendation is to have that discussion and motion in front of the full board, not a subcommittee.
Well, as chairman, I will refer the matter to the village president.
Okay. And I will just say the ordinance, as you read it right now, does not require a subcommittee to make a motion to bring their report in.
Subcommittee.
Pardon me?
Like, this is a subcommittee.
This is a
Or
subcommittee.
this isn't a
It's
subcommittee.
this is a committee. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's-
require a committee to make a motion to bring a report and recommendation to the board.
No, that's absolutely true.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking to be done in this case.
So you wanna just move it right to the board meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we will do that on the next board meeting.
Still by policy, I have to, she's in charge of that agenda.
Right.
Here, I'm just complaining about.
Well, there you go.
So we can put it on the
Dotted line. There you go.
agenda. You can put it underneath the president's report and we can do it up there if you would prefer it that way. Or do you want it under FHR?
No, let's get it up top.
Yeah, I don't want to have to be the one to present that.
Okay,
And by the way, the vote could be 4-0 or 3-1. Because by
That's right.
by
Well,
policy,
Bill,
the village president has, she's a committee member now. She can vote here too.
boy, oh boy, let's use all the things we can.
Been that way since 1929.
Yeah. Never changes.
I was in kindergarten back then.
okay, on the board meeting.
Onward and upward. Hey, Eric, we're gonna move
Thank you.
on.
Thank you, Madam President.
Ben, you have anything else to add with that?
No.
Okay, we have nothing under old business. Anybody have any new business? Correspondence received from anybody? Agenda items for next meeting, we've got this one.
Be on the board meeting.
This will be on the board meeting. That's going straight to the board meeting now.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Anything you can think of?
Do we vote on a compensation change, in the FHR meeting?
We approved that. We approved it. Isn't compensation in it?
It doesn't say
No,
anything.
compensation's not in it. We,
Oh, that's separate item.
we discussed
God,
last
silly
month.
me. Yeah.
we need to make sure that there's money available
Yeah,
before we
we're in
agree
the
to, I think.
process of doing that.
I thought Lon just said you checked on that.
And the funds are there because it won't be 10,000, it'll be 5,000.
Correct.
Yes, the funds are there.
So
So the question is that an FHR?
Yes, it is.
So that should be on the next.
Next agenda.
Thank you.
To approve, I don't know how you'd word it, to approve the compensation.
Compensation package for administrator / PW director.
If the,
You know, at county board meetings, I'm gonna have to start briefing.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Thank
go
you.
that far. They'll know you're full of crap.
Anything else?
That's an assumption that'll, with the full board making an approval of the job description.
Of the job description, correct?
If that's all, I am going to declare this meeting adjourned without objection at 4:43.